When you close your front door and head to work, do you know what actually happens inside your parrot's head? You probably think they're just waiting, maybe taking a nap or playing with a toy until you get back. But the truth is far more complex and, frankly, a bit more heartbreaking than most owners realize. When you understand what science has discovered about the parrot brain, the way you look at your bird will change forever. Most people see a pet, but researchers see a high-powered biological computer that is hardwired for a level of social connection that most humans can barely comprehend. Let us start with what is actually sitting inside that small skull. 1. Your parrot's brain is built more like a primate's than a typical bird's. For a long time, the term bird brain was used as an insult, implying a lack of intelligence. But we now know that was a massive scientific oversight. Parrots possess a proportionally massive telencephalon, the part of the brain involved in complex sensory processing and motor control. Even more staggering is their neuron density. Research published in PNAS found that parrots have primate-like numbers of neurons packed into their small forebrains. They have more cognitive power per gram of tissue than almost any other animal on the planet. This means your parrot isn't just reacting to you. They are processing you with a sophisticated neural network that rivals that of a monkey or an ape. This high-density wiring is what allows them to mimic speech, solve puzzles, and recognize individual humans. But it is also the very thing that makes your absence so difficult for them. Because they are so smart, their brains require constant input. When you leave, that high-powered engine doesn't just turn off. It begins to idle at a dangerously high speed. 2. There is a specific circuit in a parrot's brain that makes them uniquely sensitive to social shifts. Scientists have identified a structure called the medial spiriform nucleus, or the SPM. In parrots, this area is massively enlarged compared to other birds. Think of it as a high-speed data bridge connecting the forebrain, where complex thinking happens, to the cerebellum, which handles fine motor skills and coordination. This SPM circuit is part of what makes parrots so good at tool use in complex social maneuvers. But here is the catch. This bridge is also heavily involved in social monitoring. Parrots are flock animals. In the wild, being alone is not just a bummer. It is a death sentence. Their brains evolved over millions of years to be constantly tethered to others. When you leave, that SPEM-driven circuit, which is designed to constantly exchange information with a social partner, suddenly hits a wall. The bridge is open. The data is ready to be sent, but there is no one on the other side to receive it. This creates a state of neurological cognitive dissonance. Their brain is screaming for the social feedback it was evolved to require, and the silence you leave behind is physically felt as a system error in their neural pathways. 3. The moment you walk out that door, your parrot's internal alarm system, the HPA axis, kicks into overdrive. This is the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, the command center for the stress response. In birds, the primary stress hormone is called corticosterone. While a little bit of this hormone helps an animal react to a predator, chronic elevation is devastating. When researchers studied captive African gray parrots, they found something startling. Birds that were housed alone had fecal corticosterone levels that were up to 3 times higher than those living in pairs. Specifically, birds experiencing social isolation excreted around 1,744 nanograms of these stress metabolites per gram, compared to only 544 nanograms of these stress metabolites per gram. Compared to hippocampus, this isn't just a feeling of being lonely, it is a massive physiological flood. Their bodies are literally marinating in stress chemicals. These hormones increase the heart rate and put the bird in a state of high-level alert. If this happens every day for years, the damage becomes physical. High levels of corticosterone can actually damage the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory and emotional regulation. This is why a parrot that is left alone too often may start to lose its ability to handle even small stresses. Their brain's ability to calm itself down is being eroded by the very hormones triggered by your absence. If this is changing how you think about your bird's behavior, make sure to like and subscribe. We dive into the real science of animal behavior to help you understand what's actually going on beneath the surface. Up next, we look at the neurochemistry of why your bird might start hurting itself when you aren't there. 4. Your parrot's brain chemistry actually shifts into a state resembling human depression and OCD when they are isolated. The avian brain relies on a delicate balance of neurotransmitters like serotonin, noradrenaline, and GABA. Serotonin is often called the feel-good chemical, and it helps regulate mood and prevent impulsive behaviors. When a parrot is socially starved, their serotonin levels can plummet. At the same time, noradrenaline, which governs arousal and the fight-or-flight response, remains high. This creates a volatile internal environment. The bird is anxious and highly aroused, but lacks the neurochemical tools to soothe itself. This is where we see the development of stereotypies or repetitive, purposeless behaviors like pacing, head swinging, or the most distressing one of all, feather-damaging behavior. When a parrot plucks its feathers, it is often a desperate attempt to create a physical sensation to distract from a neurochemical void. Scientists believe that for some birds, the act of plucking might release a small burst of endorphins, providing a momentary addictive relief from the crushing weight of isolation. It is a compulsive loop driven by a brain that is trying to rebalance its own chemistry in the absence of the social stimulation it needs to function. They aren't just being naughty or bored, they are experiencing a neurochemical breakdown. 5. The part of the brain that makes them so smart is the same part that makes them suffer. Parrots have a region called the nidopallium cotylaterale, or the NCL. This is the avian equivalent of the human prefrontal cortex. It's the seat of executive function, decision-making, and complex thought. This is the part of the brain that allows a parrot to decide which nut to pick or how to manipulate a lock. Because this area is so developed, parrots possess a level of self-awareness that is rare in the animal kingdom. They don't just exist in the moment. They have a sense of time and anticipation. They know your routine. They know the sound of your car, the way your shoes click on the floor, and the specific way you jingle your keys. Their NCL is constantly modeling the future. When you leave, they aren't just reacting to the present moment of being alone. They are projecting that loneliness into the future. They don't know if you're coming back in an hour or a week. Because their brains are so good at processing information, they can become trapped in a loop of anticipating a return that doesn't happen when they expect it to. This creates a state of chronic executive stress. The very intelligence we love them for becomes a cage of its own making when they are left in a vacuum of stimulation. You are the primary source of data for their NCL. You are the puzzle they want to solve, the partner they want to interact with, and the social mirror they need to understand themselves. When you are gone, their world doesn't just get quiet, it loses its meaning. Your parrot doesn't just miss you. They are neurologically wired to need you. Their brain is a primate-level instrument trapped in a bird's body, evolved for a social life that is rarely matched in a human home. They aren't just pets that enjoy our company. They are creatures whose very brain structure is built around the presence of others. Understanding the SBM circuit, the NCL's executive projections, and the surge of corticosterone gives us a window into their world. It reminds us that for a parrot, time alone isn't just a break, it's a physiological challenge. By providing enrichment, companionship, and a predictable routine, you can help balance those stress hormones and keep that incredible high-powered brain healthy. Because when your parrot looks at you, they aren't just seeing a food provider. They are seeing the missing piece of their own neural puzzle. To them, you are just a person. You are the anchor that keeps their complex, brilliant brain from drifting into the dark.